joining today's conference call with Governor Andrew Cuomo. I will now turn it over to Governor Cuomo.
Hi, you guys. I'm being gender neutral. I'm joined by Melissa DeRosa, Robert Mejica, Gareth Rhodes, and Beth Garvey, and Howard Zucker. As a matter of context, day 251, we are obviously in a different phase with COVID. And we've been talking about it for weeks, but we have to fully acknowledge it. The fall phase, the scientists all predicted, was going to be worse. You're seeing global and national surges that are dramatic. And that's the new reality of COVID, okay? So the numbers are all changing all across the globe, all across the country. Challenge for our state, like other states, is managing the increase. How do you manage the increase? We manage the increase by the most aggressive testing in the country and our microcluster strategy, which is identify a small spread, increase enforcement, increase restrictions. Numbers today in the zones, 3.16. Statewide, without the zones, 1.8. Statewide with the zones, 1.9. Relative to the nation, we are doing extraordinarily well. We're something like only Vermont and Maine is doing better than New York. And these states are very rural states with very low density. And they never had a COVID problem, period. So relatively, New York is doing very, very well. Numbers going up, yes, because the numbers go up. Temperature drops in the fall. That's not remarkable. Temperature drops. Question is how you manage the drop in the temperature. So the state is doing very well. Interesting phenomenon is we have a disparate scene across the state. And what's happening is what we said would happen, which is people are in control of the spread of the virus. How you behave today determines whether or not you get sick tomorrow. Individual action. So all about individual action. If you take it seriously and you act that way, you will be safer. If you are reckless, you will be less safe. If you don't believe there's a risk, you will be less safe. And we're seeing that vividly. In general, downstate New York is doing better than upstate New York, which is a total reversal from the first phase of COVID, where it was primarily a downstate problem, and upstate New York said, oh, this is not a problem, this is not a problem. It's a total reversal. If you look at the numbers, Queens, the microcluster approach is working. We had 2 microclusters in Queens. We had one in Far Rockaway, and that microcluster is going to be extinguished as of today because the numbers were under control. The microcluster worked, and the microcluster for Far Rockaway is being terminated. The microcluster in Queens in the Kew Garden area is unchanged. The Brooklyn microcluster, the red zone, is working and is working well, and we're going to reduce the size of the red zone by 50%. And we'll put out a map today that shows the exact parameters of that reduction, but it's a reduction of 50%, and the yellow zone is also reduced 50%. So it's working in Queens, it's working in Brooklyn. Long Island is basically flat. Mohawk Valley, basically flat. Southern Tier, making progress. Broome has done a good job, and Broome is even down. But by and large, the Southern Tier is flat. North Country is flat. Westchester is basically flat, but for Portchester, which is right on the Connecticut border. And Connecticut has taken serious dramatic action because the numbers in Connecticut are not good. And Portchester is going to become a yellow zone. I spoke with County Executive Latimer today. The state is going to work with him on that Portchester yellow zone. We're going to set up rapid testing. And County Executive Latimer is a real pro and truly knows what he's doing. But we want Portchester to understand this is every public servant's job to do, right? I'm a policeman, I'm a fireman, etc. But every public servant has to work on COVID also. So it'll go to a yellow zone. Hold 1 second, please. Sorry. Western New York is a problem. The infection rate in Western New York has gone from 1.5 to 2.8. Erie County has the highest infection rate in Western New York at 3.1. Within Erie County, the highest clusters are Buffalo, Hamburg, Tonawanda, Orchard Park. Finger Lakes, Monroe County is a problem. It's gone from 1.7 to 2.6. Monroe, Rochester, Pittsford, Webster, Penfield. Central New York is a problem. 1.1 to 2.2. Onondaga, Syracuse, Cicero, number of cases doubled. Now, when I say it's a problem, these numbers are below states all across the nation. You have New Jersey, you have Connecticut. These states are 5% in New Jersey, 3.7 in Connecticut. Pennsylvania is 14. So when I say they're a problem, they are lower than states surrounding us. But with relative to New York, they are the high spots in New York. And frankly, I compare New York to New York, right? The Western New York, Dr. Zucker, who's on the phone, said that given the dramatic increase we're seeing in Erie County, it would be reckless from a public health point of view to open the stadium to spectators at this time, which I find disappointing on a personal level, but This is a public health issue first, and as I've said, I follow the advice of the public health experts. It is hopefully we get the numbers under control and we continue to monitor the situation on an ongoing basis. And if we get the numbers on the under control, I would very much look forward to watching a Bills game myself. In these areas, Western New York, well, let's just call it Erie, Monroe, Onondaga. In these areas, we're going to study them over the weekend. We're going to talk to the elected officials over the weekend, try to find out exactly what is going on so that we could design a micro-cluster strategy that is responsive. But at these numbers and in these areas, a micro-cluster response is appropriate. We tailor the micro-cluster strategy to the particulars of that area, and therefore we want to have conversations over the weekend, and then I'll have an announcement on Monday as to exactly what we're going to do. Again, in Erie, Buffalo, Hamburg, Tonawanda, Orchard Park, Monroe, Rochester, Pittsford, Webster, Penfield, Onondaga, Syracuse, Cicero. Those are the highest places in the state. Again, before you scare people, they're lower than Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, but relative to New York, they're high. Congratulations to Queens, Far Rockaway. Congratulations to Brooklyn, which made real progress. Also, Rockland County is going from a red zone to an orange zone. So congratulations to Rockland County. Also, congratulations to Orange County, which is going from orange to yellow. So when I said there's a different picture across the state, individual actions matter. Orange, congratulations. Rockland, congratulations. Queens, congratulations. Brooklyn, congratulations. Long Island, good news. Southern Tier, good news. North Country, good news. Mohawk Valley, good news. Erie, Monroe, Onondaga, not good news. So that's that. A few things we're doing. Number one, we're worried about the holiday season. We're worried about behavior in the state. We're worried about behavior out of the state. I've cautioned before, people should beware of small gatherings this year. I've said that we have a very strict quarantine policy in place for the holiday weekend travel period. We're going to be increasing enforcement personnel at the New York airports. You should not land if you do not have proof of a negative test upon landing. You were supposed to take a test where you were coming from and within 3 days, and it was supposed to show a negative test. I'm increasing the National Guard. I spoke to New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio about increasing the New York Police Department at the airports, but I want people to know we're serious. Second, colleges, which have been highly problematic. SUNY is going to send kids home for the Thanksgiving break. They're going to do what's called exit testing, another new concept. They're going to test every student on the way out, so students that are infected will know where they're going and what to do and how to get there. SUNY is also going to cancel the return from the Thanksgiving break and do remote learning for the rest of the semester, which takes us to about February. And then we'll figure out in February what we do. So in other words, from SUNY, go home for Thanksgiving, don't come back, go to remote learning, and then we'll figure out next semester. I am asking private colleges to review what SUNY did, take that action into consideration, but announce what their policy is going to be, because I need to make a decision whether the state should set a policy for private colleges to send children home for Thanksgiving, to then bring them back basically for a couple of weeks from across the country, and then end the semester literally 2-3 weeks later, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The SUNY policy does make sense. I applaud them for that. I'd like to hear what the private colleges are thinking. Two other points. There was a story in the Times today that was so disturbing on so many levels, I can't even begin to tell you. And I want to applaud Councilman, soon-to-be Congressman, Richie Torres, who did an investigation that disclosed a well-known long-term police blog that was in existence for about 20 years, where police officers, NYPD police officers, would speak basically to each other on this blog. This is one of the most disgusting, disturbing, discriminatory, vile blogs that you can find on the internet. This is a blog where they refer to Barack Obama as a Muslim savage. Darcel Clark, the district attorney of the Bronx, black, a gap-toothed wildebeest. They call the mayor's son, Dante, Brillo head. They call Representative Omar, federal congressperson, a filthy animal. This from NYPD. This from the NYPD. And it's gone on for years. Some estimate this blog is 20 years old. And it was only called to light by Councilman Torres' investigation. Now, all respect to Councilman Torres, and I'm a big fan of the councilman. I've worked with him on NYCHA. I think he's extraordinary, and I think he's a star for the future. But the city council is not the most sophisticated internet investigatory body, right? As Attorney General, I did internet investigations. You take a subpoena, you give it to the internet company, you mirror a hard drive. That's how you do these investigations. The city council was just doing it by reading the blog and then piecing together who these geniuses were. It's almost incredible that this went on for so long, was so widespread, so many police involved. How did nobody stop it? How did nobody blow the whistle? You're in a time, George Floyd murder, Eric Garner in New York. Demonstrations are the police culturally sensitive and in touch with the needs of the people of the city. And you have this blog up, which could not be a more damning